It's another warm and hazy day here in southern New England, and a perfect afternoon to check in with some plants that are celebrating anniversaries. So join me with a tasty beverage of your choice close to hand while we take a look at some 2, 3, and 4-year Hoya updates. And before we get all that underway, I'd like to take this opportunity to send out a special thank you to someone and to OC Orchid Lover, who each bought me coffees this past week. Your contributions to my channel go a long way in keeping me in Hoya, Dischidia, other plants, technology, infrastructure, and all the things that go into making these videos possible. So I thank you both very much for your support. The first one we're checking in with this afternoon is not a Hoya, but it's a Dischidia, and this is Dischidia lancifolia. Now, lancifolia is native to the Philippines. It was discovered on Catanduanes Island, and it was first published in 1918 in the Philippine Journal of Science by Elmer Drew Merrill. And I think those leaves, let's see if I can get, are just beautiful. Yeah, they do it for me. They're a nice dark green lancelet shape with a slightly raised, very slightly raised central vein that's a lighter color, so it's got some nice veining to it. Yeah, they're very, very pretty. I think that's just really neat, and it's done pretty well. It took it a little while to get settled, to get established, but once it did, it's just been going strong, sending out a good bit of vine. It has held up pretty well to the temperatures this summer, so that's very cool as well. Yeah, some of the other Hoyas in there, I think it's a little too warm for them in the plant room. So what I think I'm going to do is I have circulating fans within the room, but I think I'm going to set up a fan to blow cooler air into the room because it gets up into the 90s in there and things are just drying out way too fast. So I think if I can just keep the temperatures down, say 85, 80, something like that, it might be a little better. But this is done really, really well. It looks like it's developing a peduncle right in there. So that would be really neat. It has not bloomed for me yet. I should have a picture of what it looked like when it first showed up, and if I do, I'll put it in over here. Yeah, I just think I think that's so pretty. So pretty. Yeah, it's very, very nice. Again, no trouble, no trauma, no drama, nothing fairly difficult. It's growing in pond, my standard pond mixture in a self-watering pot. There's a little bit of roots coming out the bottom, but not much. And it seems to be doing okay. It's branched. This is the other branch, so I'm going to start sending that around. But it's just been a good little plant. I think it's very, very pretty. I like that. The veins of a lighter shade. I think that's just, I hope that's showing up on my viewfinder. It's just this little dark shape. So, but yeah, this one's been cool. I like this. I'm glad it's doing well. And as I've said, no difficulties whatsoever. It is living on the floor between two grow shelf setups. So it gets medium level light. It's not directly under a grow light. It's kind of like off to the side. And apparently that's kind of what the setup it likes. So yeah, good little Dischidia. This one came from Planting with Wine on Etsy. And this is my Dischidia lancifolia. next one here for 2 years is another Dischidia, and this is Dischidia tonsuensis. Now, tonsuensis is native to Sulawesi, and it was found on Tonsu Hill. Tonsuensis, that's ensis means from the place of, or a place, which is west of Lake Poso on the island of Sulawesi. It was first collected in 1994 and published in 2014 in Hoya New by Ted Green and Robert Dale Kloppenberg. And I bought this one because of the just cool leaf shape. I mean, I think they're just knockouts. And it was a decent little cutting. I think it's probably just these 2 bottom pairs. Should have a picture of what it looked like when it showed up. And it took it a very long time to get established, to get settled. But it looked, to my eye, very, very pale. And so as it pushed out this vine, it got closer and closer to the grow light above it. And I just kept thinking it looked, I mean, the leaves are very, very pretty. They've got almost like a dark margin around the outside edge. They're very neat, but I just kept thinking it was getting too much light, so I moved it. And I moved it from directly under a grow light to the front of my desk so that it faces a south-southeast window. And in the winter months, it gets a little bit of direct early morning sun, but for the rest of the day, it just gets fallout from the plant room. And the leaves that came in next are much darker, and I think they're better looking. It just blows me away. I'm going to have to put in some close-ups for sure. It's just very, very pretty plant. Really happy with it. Other than taking a little bit of time to get established, it's been no difficulty. It poked around for quite a while. It's got a little bit of rootage coming out the side there. It's in my standard pond mixture with a self-watering pot. And I'm just really pleased. From this point on up, so that's 6 pairs of leaves are all new this year. Because I moved it probably, I don't think I made a note of when I moved it, but probably like 3-4 months ago. And I didn't pay much attention to it. And then all of a sudden noticed that there was this vine coming out of nowhere. And yeah, very pleased with that. I think those are just cool. So yeah. There was a little bit of a pokey start, but it's been a fine plant. I think the leaves are really cool. I love the shape of them. I like that little dark margin. It's just like, yeah, nice all the way around. This came from Planting with Wine on Etsy, and this is Dischidia tonsuensis. Next one up is my long-suffering Hoya collina IR26. Now, Hoya collina is native to Biak Island, which is just north of the island of New Guinea in Indonesia. And it was first published in 1913 in the Botanische Jahrbucher voor Systematik, Pflanzengeschichte und Pflanzengeographie. And it was formerly known as Hoya species Biak Island. And it was published by our friend Friedrich Richard Rudolf Schlechter. And at first, this plant and I did not really get along. Well, we got along. It was very, very slow to get started. And then it had a burst of growth. And then it got a little bit too close to the grow lights and started getting super sun stressed. So I moved it. And it made that adjustment okay and started to look a little bit healthier. But where I moved it to was out of my line of sight when I'm in the plant room. So It's a little thirsty right now. The leaves are very nicely shaped. They're a little wrinkled, but I'm going to see if I can get this one back on the mend. I'm going to move it to a different location. It tends to sun stress, which I don't think looks particularly good on this plant. I'm not a huge fan of sun stressing anyway, but yeah, so that was, I think it needs to be in a lower light level. I think it'll be happier there. It also needs to be someplace where I see it, because it's actually now something of a large plant relative to the size of this pot, and it's got, you know, fairly established root system, but it's still, these leaves tend to be a little succulent, or should be. The older vines are very woody, but the more recent vines are still quite flexible. So I would imagine that this holds a fair amount of moisture in the plant itself. And so it wants a steady supply and steady access to that. And it has not had it of late. So we're going to work on that. But once it got settled, once it got established, it grew like crazy. I had it on a short little trellis, and now I've gone up here, and that's the tallest trellis I can fit on that particular shelf. But I think it could do even more. So we're going to get this one back going again, because it's very pretty when it's looking healthy. It's a little sad right now, but stuff happens. What can you do? Try and get it back on the mend. I should have a picture of what it looked like when it showed up, and I can see peduncles. So if it has bloomed for me, and for some reason I think it has, I didn't check my notes before I brought this out, but I'll put in pictures of the blooms over here as well. As I said, when it looks good, it's a good looking plant. Yeah. So we're going to bring it back, get it back on the mend, but it has not been, you know, no trauma, no drama. Just it took it a while to get settled, get established, but then it's been fine. So yeah, we're going to bring this one back, make it look healthy and make it happy again. And so what can you do? This one came from the Plant Nanny on Etsy, and this is Hoya collina IR26. Also here for 3 years is my thirsty Hoya Sunrise. Now, Hoya Sunrise is a hybrid, and it's a cross of Hoya lacanosa subspecies pallidiflora and Hoya obscura, and it was created by Michael Miyashiro in 1992. And I had seen people rave about people either like their let me phrase that a little differently. People either don't like sunrise or they absolutely love it. And I was in kind of the first category. I was like, you know, I was more interested in species than hybrids. And it wasn't on my list, but I was over at Logie's in Connecticut, and they had a really nice one. And I should have a picture of what it looked like when it showed up. And I thought, okay, let's see what all the fuss is about. So I brought one home. I settled it, transferred it to my standard pond mixture, and a self-watering pot. It's got a nice little root system. Actually, I started off in a much smaller pot, and this one just grew. It didn't need to get established. It was happy to be here, and it just grew. And it's turned into something. It's a grow beast for me. You can tell this is the side that faces where most of the lights are. This is against the wall. But it's a really, really pretty plant. I don't mind a little bit of the sun stressing. I think that's kind of interesting, but I don't want to go through trying to get the whole plant sun stressed. And a little bit is okay, fine, but this one just needs to be retrellised on something taller. It needs to be repotted into something larger, because I think if I give it more, it's going to respond in kind. I mean, it's just been really cool. It has bloomed for me, so I'll put pictures of the blooms over here on the side. It's got lancelet-shaped leaves with a central raised vein and some raised side veins. Nice color. My debate is a little bit of that sun stressing is kind of cool. It's kind of pretty. But I think the color of the leaves would be a little bit richer green if it were getting somewhat less light. So I'm on the fence on where to put it in the plant room. Because, it really did grow on me. I really like this plant now. So if you're on the fence about Hoya Sunrise and you don't have one, yeah, I would recommend it. It's been a good grower, no difficulties, no trouble. It blooms regularly as long as I keep up with the watering, and it's just a good plant. They're usually not terribly expensive for a decent sized plant. So yeah, if you're thinking about it, or if you've thought about it, this is a good one. I do like this after all. After all that. Yeah, it bounces back too when it gets a little neglected. So yeah, I'm keeping our fingers crossed about that. This one came from Logis in Connecticut on their website, and this is Hoya Sunrise. Now the next one has been here for 4 years, and that's my Hoya crassipetiolata with the descriptor splash. Now, crassipetiolata is native to Vietnam. It was first collected in 2016 in Dien Bien province at a height of 1,100 to 1,400 meters. It was first published in 2017 in Tarzaninoia by Leonid Vladimirovich Averyanov, Van Te Pham, and Tuan An Le. And the first time I saw one of these leaves, I kind of did I need one of those. I need one of those. I had another crassipetiolata, the standard one, and it had done pretty well for me. It had a minor time period of settling in and adjustment, but once that crassipetiolata got settled, it's a huge grower. It's a great plant. So I thought, okay, let's get one with that kind of variegation and marking on it. So I did. And it didn't do anything for a really, really, really long time. And what I kind of figured out, it's in my standard pond and self-watering pot, and there's a little bit of roots. What I had done was it didn't want as much light as I had been giving it. My other crassipetiolata grows right under the grow light, and it's very happy with that. The leaves are a little pale, but it seems to be, thriving under that. This didn't do much of anything, and I had it under, fairly close grow lights. until I moved it so the grow lights were maybe 30 to 60 centimeters or 1 to 2 feet above the top of this. And that's when it started pushing out this new growth. It's very, very pretty. I hope that's showing up under the lights. But since then, it's been doing well. Now, with luck, I have a picture of what it looked like when it showed up. Because it was like, it looked like that for a really long time. So I think every time I took a picture of it, it looked like that. It hasn't bloomed. It's looking pretty. I think it likes the lower light. So yeah, we're just going to keep trying to treat it well and give it what it wants. It did have a little bout with the spider mites a couple years ago when I had a little bout with the flat mites. But it has bounced back from that, and I haven't seen any signs of their return on this plant. So yeah, we're going to keep our fingers crossed and keep giving it a try, see if we can get a little bit more growth and a little bit more of that gorgeous foliage out of it. So yeah, this one came from Plants Wake You Up, and this is Hoya crassipetiolata with the descriptor splash. Another 4-year resident is my Hoya globulosa. Now, globulosa is native to Bangladesh, to China, in Yunnan and Guangdong and Hainan Island, to the Andaman and Nicobar Islands and Assam and Jammu and Kashmir in India, and Laos and Vietnam. And it was first published in 1882 in Gardener's Chronicle by Joseph Dalton Hooker. And this is a good plant, but you need to know some things about it. It's thirsty. It's very thirsty. Once it gets established, it's going to turn into a grow monster, and the vines are, they're thick. I'm giving it too much light right now, because that's why the leaves are kind of pale, because the leaves that are further away are much darker green, and that's what I want. So I'm going to move this. It's gotten right up under the grow light. I have had to cut it a couple of times because it grew. It's probably 2.5 feet from the shelf, from the bottom shelf to the next shelf, maybe just under 3 feet, so just under 90 centimeters. And it's grown there. It's right up there. And as long as I keep the watering, it just grows like crazy. Should have a picture of what it looked like when it first showed up. I'll put that in. The thing that's cool about these is they are very fuzzy. There's a slight bit of pubescence on the top, but it's the underside of the leaves. It feels like velvet. So yeah, it's done pretty well. It has bloomed because I can see the peduncles. With luck, I was able to take pictures of those blooms, but no guarantee of that. It lives right now on the lower shelf of one of my shelf setups. So, as I said, the grow light is maybe at this point 6 inches or 15 centimeters from the top leaf, and I think that's just a little bit too much. So I'm going to pull it back. I'm noticing with a lot of my Hoyas that they just don't need as much light as I've been giving them. And I want leaves that look like that and not leaves that look like that. They're all pretty, but I like the darker leaves better. So we're going to find another home for this. Maybe take some cuttings. I don't know. With some of my plants, some of my Hoyas that have been growing really, really well, and they've just gotten out of control, lately I've started taking cuttings and restarting the plant because, I've got a Brahmanica in there that's like taking over the world. And so I'm going to take some cuttings from that one. I just took some others. So we're starting them over just because I'm running out of space. So yeah. But this has been really cool. Just know that it's going to be thirsty, that it's going to grow like crazy, and it will take over wherever it lives very, very quickly. But this has been kind of fun. I also have another species noble known as cowbong, and same things apply, but this is the one that's been here for 4 years. So yeah, we're going to get him in lower light, and maybe he'll be happier there. But yeah, this has been cool. This one also came from Plants Wake You Up, and this is my Hoya globulosa. The next one that's been here for 4 years is my Hoya kanyakumariana. Now, kanyakumariana is native to India and the state of Tamil Nadu, which is on the southeast coast. It was first published in 1979 in the Journal of the Bombay Natural History Society by Ambrose Nathaniel Henry and Mangudi Srinivasan Swaminathan. And this is just a great, fun little plant. It's a favorite. Now this one's getting ready to bloom. Just a little peduncle in there, but it has bloomed for me before, so I should have pictures of what the blossoms look like. It's very cool. As you can tell, it grows quite well for me. It's in my standard pond mixture and a self-watering pot. It's got a little bit of a root system outside the pot. Small teardrop-shaped leaves that measure, just an inch from petiole to tip, which is like 2.5 centimeters, and just under an inch side to side. So kind of small. It can come in kind of dense. Nice central, slightly raised central ribs, some side ribs. The undulate edges, let's see if I can find a good. The undulate edges are just staggering. Now the stems themselves are pretty woody from early on. And the leaves, even when they're hydrated really well, are kind of thin. So I don't think that this plant holds much moisture. So it's going to want regular access to moisture. But it's just been a good one for me. I don't remember it taking a long time to get settled. And since then, it's just grown up a storm. So it's on one of my grow shelf setups. The grow light is approximately, I'm going to say, a foot, 30 centimeters above this, probably a little bit closer in reality. This had grown out into all of its neighbors. I had to back it out of several places. But it's just a fun little Hoya. And again, doesn't look like all the other Hoyas. It's very unique. Those undulate edges on these small leaves are just very pretty, nicely ruffled. Just cool. Again, no difficulties, no trauma, no drama. It's been happy to grow for me. It's been happy to bloom for me. Yeah, it's just done really, really well. I think this is, if you like the look of those leaves, this is one to search out, because it's been great for me. It's put up with a lot of inconsistencies and less than ideal care on occasion, and it just like rolls with it. It bounces back, blooms, grows. Yeah, nothing but good to say about this one. This one came from Plants Wake You Up, and this is my Hoya kanyakumariana. One more that's been here for 4 years and is bouncing back really well, I think, from the last time we saw it. And that's my Hoya Lee. Now, Hoya Lee is native to Sichuan and Guangdong in China and to Laos and Vietnam. And it was first published in 1907 in the Bulletin de la Société Botanique de France by Augustin Abel Hector, he probably said Hector, Lavelle. Great leaves, great little shape to them. Yeah, this one was looking a little pale and peaked the last time we looked at it, and that was a combination of things. It was growing, I had it growing under too much light. It clearly did not like that. And I think it had gotten a little dry. So I moved it. I had it hanging on the wall of one of my grow shelf setups, and it was just too close to the light. So I took one of my fishing weights and attached it to the back and set it off to the side. So it's not growing under any direct light. It is maybe 2 feet from the front. So 2 feet would be like 60 centimeters from the front of the grow shelf setup. And it's not even facing toward any of the windows in the room. So it gets much lower level of light. The leaves are slightly pubescent. There's a slightly raised central rib and some side ribs. It has bloomed for me, and I'll put pictures of the blooms over here. They are very nice to look at. And it seems much happier in its new location. It also means that when I walk into the plant room, it's one of the first things I see, so I'm being better about the watering. Yeah, it's just, we're just getting along better now. So it recently bloomed. That's cool. It's been growing. I think the leaves look much healthier now than they did, than the last time we looked at it. It just wasn't happy over there. So yeah, it's We're very cool. Is that getting ready to? It might be getting ready to bloom again down on that big peduncle. So cool. Very cool. Yeah, I like the way this plant is turned around. Slightly pubescent on the top, very pubescent on the bottom. Cool. I like the shape of the leaves. I like the color. I like the whole look of the thing. It's just a nice little plant. Yeah, I'm very happy with this one. Very happy that it's come back. So yeah, that's all very cool. This one also came from Plants Wake You Up, and this is Hoya Lee. And now it's time for question for the comments. And this one is a result of some things I'm doing with my own collection. And so, what's the plant you're just over? You don't hate it, but you're just over it. It can be a Hoya, it can be something else. For me, it's it's known commonly as the ZZ plant, Zamioculcas zamiofolia. And I have a green one, and I have the raven. I'm just over them. I found a new home for them, which is really great. They were the hot plant for a while. It was one of those love or money things, and then they turned up in all the big box stores, and that's not why I got over it. I think I bought it just to see what everybody was raving about, and it grew and it did fine and everything else, but it never really had my heart from the get-go. So when I looked at them, and I kind of went, I repotted them, got them all established, and asked a plant friend of mine if she wanted them, and she said, "Sure, but I don't know if I have a good sunny spot for them." I said, then we're lucky, because they don't really need a whole lot of bright light. Matter of fact, they can grow in some fairly dark places. I have a friend of mine that I gave him one years ago, and he's growing it in a bathroom with no windows. And it's turned into this huge lush plant. So, it can put up with a lot, but I'm just over it. So what's the plant that you're just over? That should prove an interesting discussion. And as always, I want to thank you for choosing to spend a little bit of your time with me this week's end. Please remember to click that thumbs up like button, the subscribe button, the notification bell, and if you're watching on a mobile device when you're all done watching and commenting, please click on that hype button. All of those things convince YouTube that my channel is worth recommending to other people, and so they'll do that. And it's your way of helping the channel grow. We're shooting for 5,000 subscribers in the next month or so, so anything you can do to help push that along is greatly appreciated. A lot of the products that you've seen me use are available through my Amazon storefront. There's a link in the description, or you can scan this QR code. There's a QR code up here. You can scan that to visit the Amazon storefront. I receive a small commission on the sales. It doesn't increase your price whatsoever, and it's another great way of helping support the channel by buying things through my storefront that you might buy anyway. If you're in the market for grow lights, I have a relationship with Sansi Corporation, and if you visit the link in the description or scan this QR code, you can visit their website. If you use this discount code at checkout, you'll receive 30% off the costs that you see on the website. I receive a commission from the sales, and it's another great way of helping to support the channel. If you'd like to support the channel directly, there's a link in the description to my Buy Me a Coffee page, or you can scan this QR code with the camera app on your phone to visit my Buy Me a Coffee page. If you'd like to work through YouTube directly, there's a thanks button down here, and YouTube handles everything for that. As usual, I'm going to put links to a couple more videos over here on the side that you might enjoy, and please enjoy the rest of your week's end.